Hello YouTube, my name is Juliana and I'm a genius who decided to start a reselling business a whole 2 months before a global pandemic happens. I'm even more of a genius because I decided to hit the market that everybody else avoids, which is children's clothing. Every video that I watch, every Instagram that I go on, they all pretty much maintain that children's clothing is a waste of time. There are very low profit margins. You're not going to make a lot of money. You're not going to have a lot of sales. It's just not a very good market, at least in comparison to other places like electronics and women's clothing. Pretty much it seems like most resellers who resell do mainly women's clothing, and that makes sense because women do make up the bulk of the market. That being said, I haven't had as bad a luck with children's clothing, at least not as much as everybody led on that I would. In 2 months I've made about, I want to say $1,200. Now that has been a small mix of women's clothing as well. I'd say a couple Lululemon items, so probably about $200 in women's clothing, but the majority of it has been kids. I'm pretty sure that's not that bad, especially for a part-time reseller, but I am new to the business, so I could be way wrong. Now, I know a lot of people watching this, if anybody watches this at all, is probably going to be like, whoa, you're new, you're dumb, you're doing all these wrong things. And yes, I probably am. I will say I've already made a lot of mistakes, like picking up way more gymboree than I ever needed to, but you live and you learn, and thankfully I learned fairly quickly. I will also say that while I am new to the reselling business, my partner, aka my mother, is not new to the reselling business. She has been selling on eBay on and off for almost my entire life. I'm fairly certain her eBay account is from like 1998, if that's possible. I'm pretty sure it's possible. Let me look up if that's possible. When was eBay founded? 1995. Yes, so I'm pretty sure her eBay account is from 1998. And she has been selling on and off since then. So I am new, but I do have a partner that has a lot of really good advice for me, so it's not that bad. One of the reasons why I did want to get into the children's market is because outside of selling online, we do have a lot of local children's consignment sales, like a lot. They do happen twice a year, but we have about, I want to say, 8 or 9 different companies that do children's consignment, and so you can make a quick grand, $2,000 in one children's consignment sale selling things that you get at the bins that everybody passes over. Our last bins trip, I think we spent at max $100. We ended up with 5 full baskets, like 5 full carts of children's clothing, and so far of that $100 we've lotted it out and we've sold $60 so far, I want to say. It may not be as lucrative. You are making maybe like $8, $9, $10 on one item, but for me it's really easy. I like children's clothing. I enjoy shopping for it. I think it's adorable. I think it's easier for someone who's getting into it because there's less brands to worry about, whereas something like women's clothing, there are so many brands. I'm trying to get into women's clothing and it is just far more difficult. With women's clothing, there's like 45 million brands that could be good or could be bad, whereas with kids clothing, there is like a solid group of 5 that do really well, and there is the boutique brands that do really, really well, and they're really, really ugly, so they're super easy to find when you are going through racks and stuff, because you're just like, oh, that's super ugly, that must mean it is worth something. I know I have just rambled about a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with the point of this video. The point of this video is we bought a bus full of stuff. Now I know there's probably going to be some people who are like, wow, you're dumb. Why would you make such a big investment when you are still relatively new and still relatively learning? And I will say, because this pandemic happened and there is zero way to source because we cannot go out, we can't go to stores, we can't go to thrift stores, we can't go look at things. We have been doing porch pickups, and so this was just a really, really big glorified porch pickup, in my opinion. Yesterday was actually the day when they had dropped off the stuff. They dropped it off at our storage unit. We gave them the passcode, and it was unlocked for them. They were amazing and dropped everything off, and I don't know how they did it because the storage locker was relatively tiny. I will insert a clip here. And after they had finished dropping everything off, it was insane how full it became, and it is still insane how full it is now. I don't even think you can't really see back there, but it is
to the ceiling.
To the ceiling.
Should we move these out of the way so you can get a better look?
It is full.
Full. Oh my goodness, I don't know if this even will move. This is stuck.
Full. I will say, I didn't say this, it is a bus full of new with tag stuff. It's not used stuff, it is new with tag stuff. So there are, when we looked through, there was quite a few pairs of like $100, $200 shoes. That's resale value. They retail at like $600. There was a pair of Adidas like special edition human race shoes, I believe they are, which can go for like $100. There was a lot of pretty pricey brands, all new with tags. So if they weren't new with tags, we wouldn't have bought it. I just want to clarify that. I also forgot to mention that they threw in a bunch of stuff that had been left at a dry cleaners. So we do have used merchandise. The bus load itself was full of new with tags merchandise, and then they had brought another van that was full of this stuff that was left at a cleaners, and so we started going through that yesterday. So we do have some that is used but in good condition, and so our store, while mainly children's, is going to become probably more misses than children's at this point, just because of the overwhelming amount of misses products that we have just gained. The sun keeps going away and coming back and going away and coming back and going away and coming back, so I apologize. I'm gonna try to like document my journey with this bus thing and see what happens. I kind of want to document it for myself, but if anybody else wants to watch it, that's cool. That's why I'm putting it up, you know. If you want to yell at me, that's cool, go ahead. I can take it. If you want to give me advice, please go for it, especially if you know things about children's clothing or women's clothing, especially. Like I'm not very good with women's clothing. I'm very afraid of women's clothing. I know the few brands that do well, like Lululemon. That's about the extent of my women's brands knowledge, is like athletic wear. So if you have any advice you want to give, I am more than happy to receive that. So just to recap, I am Juliana. I run a store called HoneyBeeHappee. It's mainly children's. It's gonna be a lot more women's now. I'm dumb for starting this before a pandemic, although to be fair, I did not know a pandemic was going to come. I'm also dumb for going out when we were supposed to be staying in to buy a busload of stuff, even though I was following social distancing guidelines and staying 6 feet apart from everybody, wearing masks, using hand sanitizer and wipes, just making sure everything's fine. In the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at HoneyBeeHappee, except on Instagram there's dots in between honey.be.happy because somebody else took HoneyBeeHappee. We also sell on Poshmark, Mercari, Kidizen, and eBay at HoneyBeeHappee, so if you want to check us out there, go for it. In the meantime, I'm just going to be going through a busload of stuff, and hopefully there'll be another video soon. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.